former Spurs, Villa and USA keeper. Brad Friedel has popped in to see us. Good afternoon, Brad.
Hi guys, how are you?
Yeah, we're good. Good. We're both. Well, I'm
both nervous. Both nervous.
Well, I'm a bit more nervous than
We always
Andy.
go through the same dance, of pretending the other team's got much more chance than our own team of winning. But
there's more riding on it from a Tottenham point of view. Although Chelsea, with a couple of wins and results going their way, they're still in the European mix.
55.
We can only hope not.
It's already where Bournemouth are. I can't see.
You don't think so? No. Okay.
I don't think so. I'll be honest. I think they'd be quite pleased not to be in Europe.
What, the Conference League, for example, or even Europa League?
Europa League, maybe, but the Conference League, they don't want that.
As a player, because Andy's making the point that a new manager, Xabi Alonso's going to come in, and it would be nice, as we've seen with Michael Carrick and other managers in the past, one game a week in your first year just to bed in and build on that. Is that a good thing, or do players always want to be in Europe?
I always wanted to be in Europe. Even going all the way back when what was it called? The Intertoto Cup or Intertoto?
Yeah, that's right.
Any avenue into European football, I think for players is always better. I think over the years and over the decades of the high performance departments coming in, they talk about load on players. And what I can tell you now as I sit here at 55 years of age, the load is meaningless when you're 25 years of age.
Yeah.
When you're signing for these clubs, especially coming to the Premier League, one of the reasons you come to the Premier League and to the bigger clubs is to not only get into European competition, but you should, in your competition, whether it's Champions League, Europa League, or Europa Conference, you should be one of the favourites and you should get pretty far in the competition. I think it's a positive.
And we've seen that this year.
They did the conference thing last year. They won it, and you see Palace are in the final. Basically, the way the leagues are set up in Europe, an English team should be in the final every year, really. West Ham have won it. I don't think it would do Chelsea any favours to be back in that competition, personally.
But we shall see. Now, one of the big calls tonight is in the goalkeeping position from a Tottenham point of view. Vicario, he's fit, and he fielded a couple of questions on De Zerbi yesterday, but Kinski has played very well, and I don't know if I'm speaking for all Tottenham fans, but certainly the ones of my acquaintance, we want to see Kinski stay in goal for the rest of the season. I think he's made the defence a lot calmer. He's less erratic than Vicario, who is a great shot stopper and has great moments and has pulled off brilliant saves. But I think there seems to be a bit of an understanding in the team with Kinski. I don't know what you make of it, Brad.
Kinski should start. If you're pulling Kinski out, you may as well let him go to another club after what happened at Atletico Madrid. In that game at Atletico Madrid, only one goal was down to him. One was really unlucky where he slipped. The other one was Van de Ven slipped. And obviously there was one goalkeeping mistake, but how many goalkeepers do you see make mistakes? So for him to get dragged at that time, but then come back even stronger, and he has been a calming influence. Two things have happened. Romero out of the team, Kinski in the team. Danso, I know Danso had the one mistake, I think it was Brighton. But they look a lot more solid, a lot more calm. De Zerbi's come in, more time with the team. There's no reason to drop Kinski at this moment.
They've got an astonishingly poor record at Chelsea. Everybody knows that. But Chelsea, this isn't Chelsea. They haven't won since the 4th of March. They've not won at home since January the 31st. They're coming off a cup final where they played really well, but blimey, they put a lot into the game.
Yeah.
It's 3 days later. So if Spurs can't get a result tonight, they're never going to get a result. That's the way I look at it.
They need a point.
They need a point.
Which is much better than having to go to Chelsea and need 3.
They don't want to be going into the home game against Everton needing anything. That's
correct. A point tonight, they're safe. Goal difference is too big, so that put your eggs in the basket this evening. And Chelsea, you're right, they're going to be not only physically tired but mentally tired, because when you put so much into a game and then you lose, psychologically it does something even worse for you. You feel more tired. It's like defending the
players though
instead of having the ball.
To counter that, the players would have got a boost from the announcement of Alonso.
Yeah, they'll want to show something to the new
manager, and I think that's going to.
It depends the character of the player. Players are funny these days, and that's where football hasn't changed in lots of areas, but in one of the areas it has. Is not every single player wants to die for the manager. If they don't, there's a lot of players out there that if they don't like what the manager's doing, they see how many other players they can drag along with them and bring that negativity in to help their own selves. One of the reasons why Pep Guardiola is so good is right when he sees that, you're out. And that's it. And it's ruthless. and off you go. And Sir Alex Ferguson was like that. I mean, there was no messing around. Mourinho, when he was at
I do
Chelsea
think players, though, respect managers who have won stuff, who have won stuff in their playing careers as well as their managerial careers. I think, I just think
Xabi Alonso looks like a good fit for Chelsea, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Yeah. And he should get respect. One of the issues that he had at Real Madrid is when he wanted to put his discipline, what was above him went with the players. And when that happens,
I think Chelsea have learned from their mistakes. I don't think that will be happening. I think you'll find they're going to give him a chance, and I think that gives them a chance.
So, one of the other things we don't really know, and this will be true of João Pedro as well, but Colin Moani and Richarlison have both found out they're not involved in the World Cup. I mean, Colin Moani came to Spurs in the hope that he would definitely be going. Richarlison was back in the squads, and if Ancelotti doesn't put him in the squad, then nobody else will. So I wonder what their mindsets will be tonight, whether that will fire them up or whether they will you'll see them kind of on the floor because they've not made it.
My opinion of it is Colin Moani will be the same.
That's not good news.
No, well, I don't think it's going to affect one way or the other.
Brad, yeah.
Richarlison, he's obviously been well noted. He's had some issues with depression and what.
Yeah, and he is a very emotional
he's
guy.
An emotional character. I could see this being a big blow to him. And sometimes players need that. And we could get a great Richarlison tonight. Yeah. But history tells me that might affect Richarlison a lot more than Colin Moani.
The thing is, neither team have got any goals in them. I can't. Yeah. 0-0 seems like a real possibility to me tonight because they
should shake hands before the game.
Well, I'm all for that. It just somebody throw in the towel. Let's just say quick one on the Villa because they got a big game tomorrow night. We're going to bring that to everybody on talkSPORT. We were just saying what Andy was saying to Gabby Agbonlahor earlier on. What a job that Unai Emery has done, really, this year.
Just to get to the Europa League final, playing Thursday, Sunday, but still making Champions League. That is a great achievement.
You know what's remarkable for me? And I was at the club, and we were flying pretty high with Martin O'Neill. And then shortly after I left, and a lot of us left, they were relegated. That financial hit is so hard to recover from. Just think of what this board has done. And then when Unai Emery came in, and each year he keeps building and adding on to the squad. If they can do 2 more seasons in the Champions League and they get their finances over the 500
headroom
mark, then they're it's a huge club. Then they can really be fighting for maybe even the Premier League title because Aston Villa has that fan base and they have the structure of the club. So at this moment in time, football clubs, we get so much negative news. Right now, it's so nice to see. There's not a lot negative you can say about Aston Villa.
No, sure.
They had to go at his team against Tottenham.
Yeah.
7 changes. Right after that, what happens? They annihilate Nottingham Forest 4-0, and then they're 4-1 up, and they'll finish 4-2 against Liverpool. Right, and back-to-back, and now they're in the final.
I'm sure West Ham was delighted that he rested those players that day. Tremendous.
Well, they had their chance again, Palace.
He was looking at his own club. He wasn't, he was doing what he needed to do.
That's
to
what
get
they
into a
have
final.
to do. They all do.
Of course.
And USA at the World Cup. A couple of I saw Johnny Cardoso's out. They've lost a few players to injury. I mean, how are you feeling? What would be a good World Cup for the USA, Brad?
Get into the knockout rounds and then see who you get drawn against. I could see if we can finish top of the group, which will be really hard. People are saying we're in an easy group. Paraguay is going to be a hard game. I think man for man, player for player, we're better than Australia, but that doesn't mean that you're going to win the game. Turkey, man for man, player for player, is better than the U.S. when you go into it, so that's going to be a difficult game. So I think it depends where we finish in the group, and when we get to the next round, which I think we should, if you finish second or you're one of the third place teams, you're going to have a harder draw going through. Could we, if we got a nice draw, could we get to the quarterfinals? Yeah, we could, but we're still a growing footballing nation. I mean, most kids that are still born today want to play in NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, but stadiums are better, training grounds are better. Like everything's growing, but we're still not a footballing nation. So that would be success. But Tyler Adams is a good player. Weston McKennie's a good player. Chris Richards is a really good player. Anthony Robinson's an excellent player. One of our one of our players we need to play well is Christian Pulisic, and he's had a real difficult time recently. So we got to hope that he comes in and does something going forward. Tim Way is a good player. Balogun's had a great season, so we can cause some.
It's so funny. World Cups are so different now. You'll see that virtually every single team in the World Cup has got players that play in Europe.
Yeah, and that you'll know. Yeah, there's gone are the days when you get the World Cup and you think, "Wow, I've never seen him before." It doesn't.
It was kind of more exciting when we were growing up.
Yeah,
the difference with the U.S. team to, let's say, a Spain or an England or Germany's is that if Chris Richards is injured, if he does get it, that's a huge miss for us.
Yeah.
If Anthony Robinson can't play,
they don't have the depth.
No,
that's the thing.
With what comes in, so you mentioned Johnny. Okay, so he's out, and we have Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie. But then if Tyler Adams or Weston McKennie get injured, then it's a huge drop off.
Yeah, sure.
So now we're already asking Tyler, who has injury problems. Weston can do it, but to play every game now and every minute for us to be successful, and that's a big ask.
Yeah. Well, Brad, lovely to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Nice to see you as well.
Enjoy the game tonight and enjoy the World Cup if we don't see you before. And you're going to be in the How to Win the World Cup podcast with the guys, aren't you?
I am. And I'll be working with talkSPORT during the World Cup.
Oh, that's excellent. Well, that's great. Well, no doubt we will catch up with you during the
have a Yunus Musa trading card.
Look at that. It could be worth a fortune. That might bring you good luck. There we are.
All right.